The Germans came in, they literally were going to come across the bridge. There was a couple of Dutch soldiers at the bridge, and they basically bombed the bridge to stop them coming, then got on their push bikes, as my father said, and come to tell everybody, oh, well, the Germans are coming. Right. There was no shot fired in Nijmegen, because it was just such a small town.
If you get a snippet of Dirk Hartog in a history book somewhere, and all the rest of your knowledge is about Cook and Bligh and Flinders and everybody else, then that gets put in a window somewhere aside, so people don't develop the interest in that.
Soon my kids will be faced with a little townhouse full of bits and pieces and memories and paintings and artefacts that they know nothing about and I know nothing about. So it's spurred me to action. It took me a long time, and I didn't read much Dutch because I left Holland, as I said, as a 6-year-old.
We dance in traditional costumes. We dance in what we call the real costumes rather than theatre costumes.
A lot of mixed marriages between Dutch and the ones that want to be Dutch. We also have a school here for little children of Dutch people who would like to learn proper Dutch. The Kangaroo School is here every Thursday of the week. Usually when the Dutch get together they ham it up a bit, you know.
That's right.
And
they have a good time.
They have a real good time, yes.
Absolutely fantastic.
And it's about the history and the culture of the Dutch costumes, the national costumes. Okay. So there's going to be 26 marionettes. There's also going to be a big map of the Netherlands, with which the ladies are working on at the moment at the back.
Where they all come from?
Where these head and shoulders, where these marionettes come from. Right. So you can relate to the costumes by looking at the map, but also icons which are famous in that particular province. Right. That one there has got paper towel in it. It's the Anton. It's in to recognise Anton Pieck. Yes, so those are some of the shadow boxes. Those are the freestanding ones which we haven't started on yet. There's a lot of work in them. Benji, what are you eating?
You're going to be busy.
Well, we have been. But it's to leave a legacy behind for my grandchildren, and also to educate the Australians a little bit more about our culture.
They have this thing where if they get young people in, they bring in their friends and they all speak English. It becomes an Australian club, and after a while the old people leave, and then the young people find it costs money to run a club and there's a lot of work involved, and in a short time it just dies as well.
As a Dutch club.
As a Dutch club, yes.
Wednesday after breakfast it was off to the activities room, where all participants were introduced to an aerobic class conducted by Katja. Boy who came for gentle exercise had a rude shock. It was straight into the welcome dance where there were lots of giggles and antics.
A great thing about the book is my father is an artist, and he painted especially for me, paintings of my mother. And we always laugh, she's the most painted Dutch woman in the world because so in the book there is some lovely beautiful paintings, but my father has also done prints of the paintings, and so on the website we've been selling the prints and paintings.
So where does he exhibit? Or?
In Sydney. He works, he has a studio and he works in Sydney and does exhibitions with other artists. But the main idea of the book really was to tell this story of an abandoned child, and also to show the success of my mother, that she, even though she was a migrant and she'd had this terrible background, that she was lucky she met a lovely family who immediately loved her, and Mum and Dad took turns of educating themselves and went to uni, and Mum is a success story, and that's really what I wanted to get across in the book too, that regardless of your background, you can, if you're determined, you can make something of your life. And Mum was a teacher in the Mascot area for 30 years.
The Assembly Hall, the new Assembly Hall.
I was there.
I was there.
Were you there too?
I took lots of photos.
Really?
I was there on that day.
Did you teach at Mascot?
Yes, I took some nice close-ups of her as she's standing at the...
Yeah, I was there. I think I do remember that you were there.
I was,
actually.
at first it was all empty,
Yes.
so I was the first to sit
Yes.
down, and I was
Yes.
sitting at the front, right
I
at
do
the front.
remember you now, I think, yeah.
And when did you teach at Mascot?
69 to 72.
Ah, well, you weren't there
I came
yet.
in 85.
Because we got thrown out of Chester Hill just at that time, and I spent the rest of the time moving everyone from Chester Hill to Smithfield. That's my story anyway.
That's good.
I was here last year.
And you're the archivist.
Well,
We're supposed to be.
I'm someone. Look,
I've got my head in the picture.
Back up your head.
Be careful what you say, he doesn't love you.
Just these ears sticking out, you know. And that's why if we can see a film now about Willem Janszoon, if there's a bit more news about him and a bit more of the Dutch, then I think people will get a better profile. In Hyde Park, underneath it's got discovered this territory. Well, yes, he did discover the territory around Sydney and along the coast, but people reading that can misconstrue that as imagining that he discovered the country. And so...
You know, when you're on this gallop and you're going faster and faster and you can't get it on the paper quick enough, that's when your best stories come out.
Getting a bit long in the tooth here. Now, the books are a remarkable achievement from which I've learned so much, not only about the human world and my mother's journey, but also about the family and even myself, and you should be congratulated. Outside of our family, we all love the book, but of course the book's doing wonderful things out there. There's been SBS interviews, there's been newspapers, there's been interest from Radio Netherlands and abroad. So let's hear from Nell about a genuine great read, a real page-turner.
It was in that moment that I really knew that I wanted to write her story. It was the story of a woman who had taught us all to love, a story of courage and perseverance, but also one of joy.
Oh ja, tuurlijk. Ik ben hier de hele middag als ik het volhouden.
Ja.
Mooi weer vandaag, hè? Voor
ja.
de
We hebben wel geoefend met het weer, dat is fantastisch. Ja. Niet te stille vasthouden, jongens. Oh.
Which gradually changed into the Skyville Migrant Accommodation Centre, and that continued until about 1963.
Ah ja.
Zie dat woordje. Hi Leer. Geef je handje Sinterklaas. Dankjewel. Dankjewel. Ik heb jouw handje. Ik ben heel lief geweest. Kijk hè. Kijk wat ze mij gegeven hebben. Zie je dat?
Dat is wel jammer.
Oh, zie je dat? Jij hebt er geen tekening meegebracht en je kan ze mooi tekenen. En ze houdt heel veel van honden en poesjes. Ja? Heb je een poesje thuis? Heb je een hondje thuis? Oh, heb je een paardje thuis? Heb je kippen thuis? Dave's been good. I know we had Tony who was naughty. Dave, be careful sitting next to Tony because it might rub off. So you stay good, Dave. Patricia, where's Pat?